Hey everyone, today I want to talk about 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days from 2007 by Cristian Mungiu. This is the 27th episode of my 1000 favorite movie series, where I talk about the movies I love the most in a random order. One of the most interesting things about the dynamics of world cinema is that there are going to be countries that don't really have much of an internationally recognized cinema at all, but can suddenly emerge as a prominent player on the festival circuit and gain serious critical and sometimes commercial standing. Of course, these countries had cinema before, but had just never had so much attention from other countries, and only now do foreign critics take notice. In the 40s, it was Italy. In the 50s, it was India and Japan. And in the 80s, it was Taiwan, just to name a few. And in the 2000s, it was Romania's turn for the spotlight. As far as I can tell, this Romanian New Wave, as it's called, is pretty much exclusively made up of art films, and very minimalist ones at that, which doesn't make it the most accessible wave, but it's one that I personally enjoy a lot. My favorite among these films is also arguably the most famous movie in the country's history, 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. It's about a university student, Otilia, as she helps her roommate, Gabita, to get an abortion. The movie takes place in 1987, a time in which abortion was illegal in Romania, and the government intensely controlled and monitored women to enforce this. Contraception would have also been illegal for these women, and even though that fact's irrelevant to the movie, it just goes to show how repressive the government was. Anyway, they elicit the services of a man who performs abortions, and the movie shows everything that Otilia has to do to facilitate this, including finding the hotel, borrowing money, meeting the man, etc. The movie all takes place during a single day and night, and one of the things I love about the film is that it shows the whole process from beginning to end, almost becoming like an adventure, albeit not one that anyone will want to go through. And I'm sorry if these are spoilers, but it's kind of impossible to talk about the film without discussing the things that make her adventure a nightmare. Firstly, and possibly worst of all, in order to have the man perform the abortion, his price is that both of them have sex with him one after another. The fact that abortion is illegal enables performers of illegal abortions to take advantage of the women, and this is a devastating consequence of this power dynamic. Secondly, Otilia is obligated to leave her friend in the middle of everything and visit her boyfriend's parents' house, where she has to put up with a huge amount of stress and conflict until she basically escapes. And finally, she has to dispose of the fetus by traveling through an oppressive nightscape, looking for an appropriate garbage chute. Obviously, abortion is the primary subject matter of the movie, but it could also be argued that it's really about a true friend who dedicates herself fully and completely to her friend's plight, that she's willing to undergo a truly terrifying day to help. And with the references to their friends that have also had abortions, this also gives the sense that it's about women having to help each other out in trying times. Either way, this movie remains gripping because of its minimalist style of long takes. This is a common characteristic of the Romanian New Wave, and here they're used masterfully because they never seem to drag. Many of them have consequential conversations, such as the one where the abortionist chides the two women as they discuss the details of what follows. This lasts about 17 minutes and uses only 3 shots, but the dialogue and situation are so engaging that it feels like no time at all. And that's how most of the movie is like. The camera simply watches and lets us take everything in, but always doing it so we're sympathetic to the protagonist's situations. This is done especially well in the dinner scene, which I'll talk about a little later, where amidst the lively dinner table conversations, we're focused only on Otilia and her plight. These long, mostly static takes also add to the oppressive atmosphere the movie's presenting. The little things add up, such as the light flickering on and off in the common area outside their hotel room, the police behind the counter as Otilia returns to the hotel, the loud noise that startles her as she waits in the car, and all the noises she hears as she does her final task at night. These are presented in a matter-of-fact way through the observant camera, leaving no opportunity to escape. Many have called this a horror movie, and while I don't know if I completely buy that, this atmosphere does resemble one, and certainly there are some shots, like the shot of a bridge at night, that could easily pass for being in one. Or this shot, where while Otilia is making her way through the nightscape at the end, the camera starts to show behind her, and we see a man following her, and we instantly fear the worst. Thankfully, he turns out to be harmless, but even though this is very brief, it might be the single scariest moment in the movie. As for my favorite moments of the movie, one of them happens at the end of their interaction with the abortionist. After he forces them to have sex with him and performs the abortion, he wraps up and gives last minute advice and instructions. The way he acts resembles something semi professional, as if the horrible price the two girls had to pay just never happened. The most interesting part of this is when he offers to stop by later and check up on her, and she refuses. He says, "Come on," and the way he says it almost indicates that he's disappointed. This is the first time when he shows any kind of emotion that isn't condescension, coldness, or anger. It even sounds like he's a little concerned, or maybe not. Maybe he's just trying to further manipulate her. In any case, this short interaction has always fascinated me. Like, even if he does feel a little bit of concern for her, does he not just realize what he made them do, and how they must feel? How can he possibly be surprised? Also, the way he wishes her luck as he's leaving is a nice gesture by him, I guess, but it just further demonstrates his detachment from the reality of the horrible situation he put them through. Next, there's the dinner scene that I mentioned earlier, which might be the best single shot of the movie. Ottilie's at her boyfriend's mother's birthday party, and she's meeting his family for the first time, which I guess is nerve-wracking enough without the fact that she's just abandoned her friend as she's waiting for the abortion to become successful. For all we know, she could have gotten a fever and might be in serious trouble, but she's stuck here. For this entire 7.5 minute shot, she's centered in the frame as everyone around her is just having a grand old time, oblivious to her situation, and we feel her inner conflict and tension the whole time. She also has to deal with people at the table basically crapping on the younger generation, condescending to her in the process. Like, can she catch a break? The phone even rings at one point, and she looks towards it, and what could be going through her head is enough to drive anyone insane. I'm sure we've all been in a situation not quite like this, but where you have to leave a social situation, but you don't want to be rude and have to put up with it, as a ticking time bomb is counting down in your head. This is the cinematic equivalent of that. And finally, this isn't a moment in the movie per se, but rather a moment of realization that at least happens to me at some point whenever I watch this movie. And that moment usually comes shortly after the movie's over for me. Initially, we think that Gabita is 2 months pregnant because that's the information that they gave to the man, but during their consultation, he realizes that it's actually longer than that, and she confesses that she might be on her 4th month. Well, the movie itself doesn't conclusively say how pregnant she is, leaving this point to be ambiguous, until we realize that the exact answer has been right in front of us the whole time. The title of the movie, 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. She's actually on her 5th month, almost the 6th. It's always chilling when I realize this after the movie's over, because the ambiguous point becomes not what month she's on, but whether she knew the whole time and lied about it, or if she didn't know, yet the all-seeing, all-knowing creator of the movie's title magically knows. But in the end, what I love about 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days is that it's one of my favorite types of movies, which I like to call process movies, which lays out a process in front of you and you meticulously see the process unfold from beginning to end. In this case, it's a high-risk process of carrying out an illegal activity under an oppressive government, and seeing that play out within a single day. Furthermore, this isn't even to the benefit of the one doing all this, but to the benefit of a friend. And it's this daring act of friendship and commitment that lurks just beneath the surface of this haunting and very gripping movie. It's one of my 1,000 favorite movies. Thanks for watching my video. Goshou makoto ni arigatou gozaimasu. Have you seen 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days? Let me know what you think in the comments. I think of all of my favorite movies as my friends, and I think of my audience as friends too. Now, I usually upload a new video every Friday, but since the holiday season is upon us, I'm taking 2 weeks off. So don't spend all your time watching my videos. Go out and enjoy some time with your family. And remember, if you want to help me complete this 1,000 favorite movies epic, don't forget to like and subscribe.